I grew up in a house where love wasn't shared equally. It was assigned. My younger brother, Ayan, was the golden child. Whatever he wanted, he got. New phone? Done. Expensive shoes? No questions asked. Failing grades? He's just under pressure, my mom would say softly. And me? If I brought home 90%, my father would ask, where are the other 10%? My name is Rehan, and according to my family, I was the useful one. Not the loved one, not the special one, just useful. I fixed things in the house, paid small bills when I could, helped neighbors, studied quietly, worked part-time after college hours, and somehow, none of it ever counted. My mother used to say, Rehan is strong. He doesn't need attention. But strength isn't a gift when it's forced on you. It's just loneliness with responsibility attached. Ayan, on the other hand, never had to be strong. He just had to exist. I still remember one dinner clearly. It was the moment I realized I didn't belong in my own home. We were sitting at the table. My mother had cooked biryani. Ayan came late, as usual, scrolling his phone. My father looked at him and smiled immediately. Come, Beta. Sit here. Then he looked at me. You already ate? Or should we save leftovers for you? I forced a smile. I haven't eaten. He nodded toward the kitchen. Then eat after we're done. We don't have enough right now. But there was enough. There was always enough. Just never for me at the table. Ayan laughed without looking up from his phone. Bro, you eat like you're training for survival mode. Everyone laughed. Even me. That was the first time I laughed while feeling completely invisible. Things didn't change as I grew older. If anything, they got worse. Ayan failed college twice. My parents paid for both attempts without hesitation. When I got a scholarship offer from a decent university, my father said, focus on helping at home instead. Scholarships don't feed families. So I worked, I studied at night, I slept late and woke early. I built small freelance projects online, teaching myself skills no one in my family cared about. Web design, digital marketing, basic coding. They didn't understand it, so they assumed it wasn't important. Rehan wastes time on laptop nonsense, my father would say. But that nonsense was slowly building something they couldn't see. And I didn't tell him anything. Because in my house, success only mattered if it came with Ayan's name on it. Then came the incident that changed everything. It was the start of summer holidays. The house was full of relatives, food, noise, laughter, everything except space for me. I had just come back from a small freelance project meeting. I earned a good amount that day, but I didn't mention it. I entered the house quietly, hoping to slip into my room. But I heard my uncle's voice from the lounge. Oh, Rehan, come here. I walked in politely, and that's when my dad smirked. He looked at everyone and said loudly, Hey, loser! Since it's holiday, you can eat with us. Ha ha! The room exploded in laughter. My chest tightened. Ayan laughed the loudest. Yeah, bro, come sit with the VIPs today. My mom didn't stop it. She just looked away like she always did. I stood there for a second, waiting for someone to say it was a joke gone too far. No one did. So I smiled, because that's what I always did. And I sat down, but what I didn't know was that someone outside the house had just pulled up to our gate, and they were about to knock. The laughter at the table slowly faded, but the embarrassment didn't. I barely touched the food, Every bite felt like it was sitting on top of humiliation. My phone vibrated in my pocket. Unknown number. I ignored it. My father was still entertaining guests, proudly telling them about Ayan's future business plans, even though Ayan hadn't finished anything in years. I stood up quietly to leave the room. That's when... Knock! Knock! 3 sharp knocks at the main door. My mother frowned. Who is it now? My father gestured to the servant. Check. But before anyone could move, the door opened on its own. A tall man in a formal suit walked in. Behind him were 2 more people carrying a briefcase and documents. The room went silent. My father stood up immediately. Who are you? The man looked around, then said calmly, We're looking for Rehan. My heart stopped. Every head turned toward me. Even Ayan looked confused. I slowly raised my hand. That's me. The man smiled slightly. Finally. My father's expression changed. What is this? What do you want with my son? The man opened the briefcase. I'm from Nixora Tech Solutions. That name meant nothing to my family. But it meant everything to me. Because Nixora wasn't just any company. It was the company I had been freelancing for, under a hidden contractor agreement I signed months ago. The man continued. We've been trying to contact Mr. Rehan for weeks. He's been selected as the lead developer for our international expansion project. Silence. Then my father laughed awkwardly. Developer? My son? You must be mistaken. The man shook his head. No mistake. He built the entire prototype system we're currently using. Without him, our platform wouldn't exist. My mother sat down slowly. Ayan's phone slipped from his hand. The man turned toward me. We've officially approved a partnership worth $200,000 annually. We want you in Dubai headquarters immediately. The room tilted. My ears rang. My father blinked. 200,000? The man nodded. Starting salary. Bonuses excluded. That was the moment everything broke. But the real shock wasn't the money. It was what he said next. We also need to inform you. Your system design has already been patented under your name. You are legally the primary creator. My father's face turned pale. Because for years, they thought I was wasting time. But I had been building something they couldn't even understand. The silence in the room wasn't normal. Silence. It was the kind that feels like the world has paused just to watch you suffer. Ayan stood up first. This is some kind of joke, right? The man didn't even look at him. We don't joke about contracts. My father forced a laugh. Even if this is true, he can't just leave. He has responsibilities here. The man finally turned. Actually, he can, and he should. We've already cleared his visa sponsorship. That's when I saw it. The fear in my father's eyes. Not for me. For control. My mother walked toward me slowly. Rehan, you never told us about this. I looked at her. For the first time in my life, I didn't lower my eyes. I tried. She didn't answer. Because she knew I had tried. Many times. And no one listened. Ayan suddenly snapped. So what? You think you're better than me now? I laughed once. Not because it was funny, but because it was finally clear. I don't think I'm better than you, I said. I just stopped being invisible. My father slammed his hand on the table. Enough! You are not going anywhere until we discuss this properly. The Nexora representative stepped forward. With respect, sir, he is already under contract. You cannot stop him. That word hit harder than anything else. Cannot. My father had always controlled everything. My education, my time, my decisions. But not this. Not anymore. Then came the twist I didn't expect. The man handed me a second document. This is something you should see privately. I opened it and froze. Because it wasn't just a job offer. It was ownership equity. 3% stake in Nexora's new division. Which meant I wasn't just an employee. I was a shareholder. A major one. And the project I had built, it was now valued at millions. My hand shook slightly. Not from fear. From realization. Everything I had suffered was now measurable and valuable. My father noticed my expression. What is it? I didn't answer immediately. Then I looked up. For once, I said quietly, I think you should read it yourself. The document passed through my father's hands like it was burning him. Ayan tried to peek, but no one paid attention to him anymore. My mother sat frozen. Then my father read the last line. Mr. Rehan Khan is hereby recognized as primary system architect and co-owner. His hand trembled. For years, I was the disappointment. Now I was co-owner. He looked up slowly. You hid this from us? I shook my head. No, you ignored it. That sentence hit harder than any argument. The Nexora team prepared to leave. The representative turned to me. We'll wait for you outside. Your flight is in 6 hours. 6 hours. That was all it took for my entire life to split in two. My father suddenly changed tone. Rehan, Beta, we are family. We can discuss this. There's no need to rush. It was almost laughable. The same man who called me a loser, now calling me Beta. Ayan stepped forward too. Bro, don't be like this. We were just joking earlier. I looked at him. For a second, I almost felt nothing. Then I remembered every meal I wasn't invited to. Every insult. Every dismissal. Every time I was told I was less. So I said calmly, You didn't joke once. You just finally got an audience for it. The room went silent again. My father lowered his voice. If you leave now, don't expect to come back as our son. I paused. That was supposed to hurt. But it didn't. Because I had already been outside this family for years. I just hadn't physically left yet. So I nodded slowly. Then I guess you won't have to worry about feeding a loser anymore. I turned toward the door. And as I walked out, I heard something I never expected. My mother crying. Not because I was leaving, but because she finally understood what she had ignored for years. 6 months later, everything changed. My name was in business articles. My project scaled internationally. Investors started calling me directly. And the same family that once laughed at me, they stopped mentioning Ayan's future success. Because there was no comparison anymore. One evening, I received a message from my cousin. They're talking about you at family gatherings. They regret everything. I didn't reply. Because regret doesn't rebuild years of humiliation. But success does expose it. A week later, I visited the city again for a conference. Outside the venue, I saw them. My father. My mother. Even Ayan. Waiting. My father stepped forward slowly. No arrogance, no jokes, just silence. I was wrong, he said finally. Ayan looked away. My mother whispered, we didn't know your value. I looked at them for a long moment. Then I said something simple. You didn't need to know my value. You just needed to respect me when I had none. Silence again. Then I walked past them. Not in anger. Not in revenge. But in peace. Because the real karma wasn't them begging. It was that I didn't need them anymore. And for the first time in my life, I was finally seen by the world that mattered.